Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome back to Namaste, to the Namaste experience. Maybe that's what we should start calling this. It's not just Namaste Village or the Namaste morning, it's the Namaste experience. I think we all know what the word Namaste means. It means the Christ or the light or the grace within me sees and honors the same within you. We see the divine within each other. We love and honor the divine within each other. And that's an experience, but it's an experience that begins with a decision, the decision to see, the decision to open up our spiritual eyes and to see what is always seen by God. That's why we're here. The only reason, actually, because that one thing leads to the experience of reality. So we're only here for the experience. We're not here to gain more information, more knowledge, to try and understand that which can never be understood by the mind, to grasp something that has always grasped hold of us, always held us, always nurtured us, but to simply be in the experience of that nurturing. So that's where we begin here today. And as you know, the last few days, we've been talking about something that we do always seem to circle back on here in our morning discussions, and that's humility. The importance of beginning with the realization that I do not know, to stay there, to rest there, to not let that be a declaration of failure, but an admission of the greatest success I could ever achieve, because it allows me to step into grace, step into that river that then takes me, the current pulls me naturally and easily into that infinite ocean. So we're going to go even deeper into the experience of not knowing today and allow it to really take hold of us. We're going to be hearing something that I wrote or allowed to be written, and it's always so strange for me because it never feels like me who's writing these things. It's grace itself. When we surrender into that great current, we are written, we are revealed, something within us becomes a whole. And if we allow it to translate onto a sheet of paper or onto a computer screen, that's one way of it happening, but it can happen in an infinite number of ways. But for our morning sessions, I think this is a great way to begin. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen. And we will start there. So this is a little bit longer than what we've been doing, but I think it's going to take us to where we need to be. So we're going to begin with this statement, and this statement alone has so much to reveal. It says, the knower is already complete, but the known reveals itself to you in its own time, its own time. But the knower is already complete. The truth of who you are, the wholeness that you are now is already complete. It needs nothing. It is this that God loves, the truth within you. But the known, the reality itself, the experience reveals itself to you in its own time. So let's see what that means. It waits for you to become humble enough to hear its voice, to reveal that until now, you've misperceived everything. It's revealing to you that you have misperceived everything. This is where humility brings you. And though this may seem like a terrible place to begin, it's really the only place to begin. This is where the action is. This is where the experience dawns upon your mind, when you realize that until now you have misperceived everything. Then, when humility is achieved, it rushes in like a mighty wave, overwhelming your senses. It's impossible to drown in this great ocean, but you can and certainly have been pulled away from safety by the undertow of illusions. You have been pulled away from safety or reality by the undertow of illusions. And what's the best course of action when you're caught in an undertow? Struggle and try to resist the current? No, I think we all know that. You don't struggle when you're in an undercurrent. You relax and wait for it to subside. Then you'll be able to swim back to the shore. And the same is true for illusions. Do not resist them or give them importance. Just wait for them to dissolve, and then the known will reveal itself. So I like this idea of the undertow of illusions, pulling you away from the safety of the shore. And yet the normal reaction would be to fight that, to fight to get back to shore. All this is saying is relax, rest in God. You need do nothing. Just let it take you if it needs to. Don't give it any importance. Don't try to fight that which you're never going to be able to win because it's not real. That undertow is really just in your imagination. One second. Okay. Until now, you've chosen to exist in the not known, but your arrogance, and here's the key, your arrogance has led you to believe that you know this already. This is the only thing that keeps you from seeing what God sees and knowing what God knows, thinking that you already know, thinking that what you're looking upon is real, thinking that you're having these true interactions. So you've chosen to exist in the not known, but you don't know this. You've convinced yourself that you do know. And this is the rub. And this is why humility is so important. When you realize that until now you have known nothing, then ask for help. The known will reveal itself to you. When you realize that until now you've known nothing, then you ask for help, the known, the truth, reality will reveal itself to you. In that same instant, you'll realize that it's impossible for you to know nothing. Why? Because you are known by God. The truth of who you are is always known by God. So in the end, it's impossible for you to know nothing. But you've just pulled this shade over your eyes, or you've chosen to close your eyes to reality. But just because you close your eyes to reality doesn't mean that reality disappears. Heaven does not disappear when you close your spiritual eyes. But when you do open them, you realize that you have always been held. You have always been known by God. This is the key. And this cannot change. And yet you have done everything in your will to try to change it, to make the unchangeable change. You willingly rejected what was fully known, choosing instead to see nothing. But here we go. Just because your eyes are closed does not mean that nothing exists. Just because your eyes are closed does not mean that nothing exists. Everything exists within you because the everything you are seeking is everywhere you seek. My goodness, that one line, we could just stop right there. That could be the whole lesson. Everything exists within you because the everything you are seeking is everywhere you seek. We should have that put up on posters or put all over our houses and our rooms, just post it everywhere so that wherever we walk, whatever room we walk into, we see that and we're reminded that everything that we are seeking is already there, because everywhere you seek is right here, right now, in this moment. Once again, everything you are seeking is everywhere you seek. Accept this first in your mind, and then relax and let it take hold of your heart. If you allow yourself to be humbled, I promise it will take hold, because it already did. It's already done. You're already complete. And that's why these lessons are so simple and yet so essential. All you need to do is relax. Don't try to resist or fight that undertow of illusions. That's what we've done before. And that's why we're always so exhausted. It's like trying to paddle a boat upstream. No wonder you're so tired. No wonder your muscles ache. Just relax. Let the current take you where it wills. Let God take you. Let the divine take you where it wills. Let love take you where it wills. Don't try to resist that undertow that seems to be pulling you away from the shore. You are already whole. You are already complete. But it must begin, the experience must begin with you being humbled, realizing that until now, you've tried to not see that which is so clear. And yet you thought that you knew so much. I'm sure we've all had the experience of when we were children, we thought we knew everything we needed to know, right? We thought we were smarter than our parents. We thought that everything that was important, we already had. We already figured it out. And then when you get about maybe 22, you start to realize, well, maybe in my teens, I didn't know as much as I thought I did. And then you get into your 30s and you look back upon your 20s and you think, oh my goodness, I thought I was so smart when I was in my 20s. Now I look back and I realize I didn't know anything in my 20s. Excuse me. And finally you get to your 40s, and that's when you find that you're starting to figure it out. You're just beginning to know something. It's the same thing with this lesson. We have to begin by looking back and realizing I didn't have it all figured out after all. I didn't know what I thought I knew, but I'm beginning to. It's beginning to dawn. So that's where I'm going to leave it off. I see that Teddy is here. Teddy, is Vicky somewhere out there as well? Okay, Vicky, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it from here and make it practical for us.
Okay. Well, in all of our literature and all of the healing material coming out, there's this dominance of the feminine. And what that passage was stating and guiding us to was what that feminine position is, that like Mary, like we started off the other day, let it be done unto me according to thy word. Just rest in the love of God, the only answer. Everything else comes by grace as a byproduct of that. The traditional ego position has been to try and fix and solve things and do things and get all kinds of understandings through judgment and through comparison, when this is simply a letting go. It is a letting go that's a surrender of all our thinking, all of our understanding, right into that holy presence. That presence is love. When we fall into it, it carries us, it takes us. And then the undertow of illusions doesn't impact us. The impact isn't there. It's like a muscle though. This experience of resting in the love of God. We have to get used to it. And we are. That's what we do here every day. We're getting used to that receptivity, that resting in God, turning like that music this morning, turning for help, turn to the only source of help. That there's a center within us, each of us, that is that holy Christ center. It's the same center, Jimmy, that when you write these passages or that you do whatever comes to you, that's that natural Christ self that's coming through. That's why you don't want to call it channeling some other identity. And we have to get comfortable with that our natural Christ self is expressing and speaking. It's that presence within each of us. And that when we recognize it and we celebrate it, we put our attention on enjoying it, and it expands. And then whatever is coming into our life experience is handled by that grace. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be taken care of. Not because it is a surrendering of every outcome and an attachment to every outcome. Tambra's here. Kiss the toad, Tambra. That's what we're all doing. You got to welcome everything again. Kiss the toad, welcome it in, and stay wide-eyed like a kid for the joy and the wonders of heaven upon us and through us. And I think the more we start now, we're at a time where we're living in Christ consciousness. We're seeing the light in ourselves and each other. That now the thing is just to only see that. And don't worry about the other stuff. Don't pay it any mind. Like Lana says, pay it no mind. Don't worry about it. I was listening to Emmett Fox. You know Emmett Fox. He's a lot like Joel Goldsmith. And he wrote The Golden Key. And it's just 5 pages. And it's simply that keep your mind on God, on the presence of God. And if your mind is on anything else, especially your problems, you're not thinking about God. So you're in the undertow. When we keep our attention on that light, on that holy presence, on love itself, then everything else will be taken care of. It may be not what we think or what we think we want. Maybe lessons learned, lessons complete, mission accomplished, time to put this body down, go home. Okay, I'll celebrate that with anyone at any time. But I won't attach to the form that it looks at. Whatever form, whether if it's physical healing or relationships or whatever it is, let it be exactly as it is. Just let it be. Rest into the love of God. Mary is one of the greatest examples I know. Just let it be done to me. Let it be done. All I live for is let me come into that experience, like Johannes was saying, let me come into that direct experience of the love of God. That's all our days are about. And we do that together. We see it in each other. We remind each other. We get stable in it. We're getting really stable. And our brothers and sisters need us now in time to be stable in our natural Christ self and not make it some big thing that's far away. It's right where we are. When our hearts are open, when we rest and are happy and we feel the grace that pours through us, whether it pours through us in a song, in a written word, in holding our hand out to one another, acknowledge that's the living Christ. Here we are, living Christ right in our midst. We got to be about our Father's business. We're the field workers here in time. And they're dropping around us right and left from the undertow. So we got to get stable and not doubt this living Christ that we are, because we know the difference. All of us do. We know the difference. When we're off, we know it. When we're resting in that peace and grace has us, where that's electric and it is that fire and it extends effortlessly. So the directions are simple. They're so simple. The ego always wants to confuse us, but they are that simple. Rest like a kid. Be excited like we're at Disneyland for the wonders of God's love to abound through us, around us, and in everyone and everything we see. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. By the way, I don't know if you still do this, Vic, but I know that you used to every Wednesday morning have your Merry Wednesday.
Tuesday, Jimmy.
Was it Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell everybody
Silent Mary time.
tell everybody what you would do, just relaxing into that energy, that receptive energy of Mary.
That's it. So I did it for years, every Tuesday morning, and I still do it some Tuesdays. And I just dedicate a small portion of time, like that Tuesday day. Usually it was from when I woke up till at least noon. And it didn't matter. I had a lot of kids in the house and everything else, and everybody knew this was my Silent Mary day. And my sisters and brothers around here would come visit me and sit in silence around the house or the yard. But all I do and did is what I do now as a total way of life. Rest in God. It's the only answer we need. Living in the answer of resting in that presence. And Mary to me was such a great example, and is. Somehow that example of what you're calling humility, of just willingness to depend on God 100%, not 99, 100, in the face of everything. Rest in God. So that's what I do. And then whatever else came. And it seems like it opened the window of my soul those few years where I focused on it. So I'd learned that this is a way of life and I can do it. Everyone can do it. We can all do it. We just have to desire it above everything and let everything else go. Don't worry about any of it. None of it, none of it, none of it. Grace dissolves everything. The light of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, dissolves the darkness wherever that lump or block or whatever it was that seemed to be appearing. And we are doing it. Recognize that we are. And when we're not, no big deal. Just get up. Like my mind would slip all day into thinking on my Holy Mary days on Tuesdays. And then I'd say, okay, no big deal. Just return my attention to Mary. Thanks for helping me. Thanks for teaching me how to be simple and rest and let love take me and carry me and lead me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. It got me through my toughest things. Got me through my addiction to thinking when Teddy and I were separating, when a problem would come up with the house or the kids. It just broke the spell, and it continues to break the spell because now we're not under a spell of separation. We're under the joy of wholeness and unity. So just relax and rest and trust it and celebrate where we see the Spirit. That's you're the living Christ, Jimmy. I'm the first to recognize it in you and all my brothers here. We wouldn't be here. Only the living Christ could hear this call that's gone out and join and stabilize and center in it and trust together. Thanks, Jimmy.
Wow. You know, the entire lesson on humility, I'm so glad we're talking about Mary, because the entire lesson can be summed up in just a few simple words that Mary said 2,000 years ago, and what we're being called to say. Be it done unto me according to your word, not my own. Don't try to do it on your own. Be it done unto me. Whatever needs to happen here, let it happen. According to your word, according to your will, let it happen. I don't need to get in the way. I don't need to do anything. I just need to allow. Remember what we said yesterday. The ego is always asserting itself, but the soul always allows. It allows grace to flow. It allows grace to enter. This is what Mary knew. This is what we are called to know. Meister Eckhart said once that we are all called to be Mary, that the Christ may be born within us, to carry the Christ like Mary carried Jesus in her womb until by the will of God it's born. A mother can't force the birth. She allows the birth. When it's time, it's time. And now is the time. This is the moment. So just relax and say with Mary, be it done unto me according to your will. That's all we need to do. And the other thing that you mentioned, which I'll just highlight for a second here, is, okay, so I've just been allowing these things to come through me, to write them down. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I'm not coming up here saying Saint Germain or Saint Francis or anyone else is. It's just the Christ revealing itself as you, as me, as all of us. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. This is what the ego always does. And what it often does when a message of this frequency is coming through, we think somewhere in our mind, people will like it better if it's coming from Saint Germain. People will hear it more if it's coming from some ascended being. No, they won't. They're going to hear it more if they know it's coming from the Christ light within you. So let that light shine. Don't hide it under a bushel basket by saying it's so-and-so or it's over there. It's right here. It's right within you. It's not a big deal. Allowing wisdom like this to come through is not a big deal. All of us are called to do the same thing in our own way. It's the Christ within you shining its light. And we always love when Alice shares. So we're going to go to Alice and then we're going to go to Teddy. So Alice, you had your hand up. Why don't you share and then we'll go to Teddy after that.
I love the fact, Vicki, that you've talked about Mary today. And yesterday, Johannes shared some very deep and vulnerable expressions of being human, which was really inspiring. And I've been going through a few challenges and watching the faith and the fear dancing with each other. Like I said the other day, I really, really would love to share something short that I wrote this morning when I couldn't sleep properly. And it's just so what you were saying, Vicki, about the mother. Let the mother hold you. Relax the way a baby relaxes in the arms of its mother. Now, a mother absorbs all of you. Your body, your mind, your thoughts, your fears, your insecurities, your self-doubts, and your humanness. She absorbs it all. And in the absorbing, love instantly transforms everything she has absorbed and turns it into love. The ultimate alchemy is transforming everything into love. This is the presence of the Divine Mother. She's the alchemist of divine love. So give it all to her, then relax. Let nothing disturb you. You are in the arms of love. And you know, when I wrote that this morning, a voice said to me, Alice, just write. Just let your Christ within you write, because I was not sleeping and thoughts were going around in my head. And that is what happened. That's what came through. And the mother, and just so I allowed myself, like a baby, a humble, innocent baby, to lie in her arms. And I went to sleep in peace. And I just so wanted to share that with you all today, because it was such a profound experience. And thank you for bringing up Mary, because she's been with me all day since that.
Wow. Thank you so much, dear one. Yes, the mother is with us now and always. Let her absorb your tears. Relax into her arms. She'll take you completely if you let her. Thank you. So Teddy, we're going to let you start to wrap us up here. What do you want to share?
Well, a lot sort of came to me while we were talking, while I was talking. And I was thinking about what you're saying about why people like the idea of the words coming from another party. And in the Course, he says that words are symbols twice removed. And it's the same idea. It's like we like them when they come from someplace else,
Something
rather
special.
than, what's that?
Something special, someone more special
Exactly.
than me.
Exactly. That's true. And, you know, that just shows us that we don't hold ourselves to be as special or the way we look at them, which is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look at, you know, even in the Constitution, all men are created equal. We're all created equally by God, exactly as He creates us, and that doesn't change. And I mean, a lot came up in this. You know, we've been reading Helen's notes, the direct notes from Jesus to Helen. And one of the things he talks about is Mary. And he says that Mary was the only one who came into this untouched, without the idea of original sin. So it's sort of interesting, you know, that he makes it a point to mention that, and yet that's left out of
You know
the
that.
book. I know, isn't that? Which is why, you know, I want to publish these notes. So it's sort of an interesting. It's very interesting, and I mean, it must be that we're in a particular time, because on Friday morning I'm going to do a thing at 7 o'clock, and it's about the idea of the masculine and the feminine, and why the feminine was not included in the Course. And I really want to hear from the females about what they think about that. I mean, I really want to have a discussion with people who take exception to that, and just take a look at what it's all about, you know. So it's just interesting that it is, all of this is coming up at this particular time in all different ways, because it's just time that we come to an understanding. And it's, I was thinking of the song while you were talking, looking for love in all the wrong places. We look for love every place but where it is, within ourselves and within our brother. We're looking in the world, and the world is the nothingness. And everything is contained within our own hearts and minds. That's where we find our reality. And our reality is total. It's whole, it's perfect, as we are, as Mary was. And that's what we're all here to find. Then, like we said, everything will be taken care of, because there'll be nothing more important. I was thinking at a certain point in time, I was saying, I don't have anything left. I don't know what to do. I could be living in the streets. And somebody reminded me, well, the truth of the matter is, if you're in the condition of knowing who you are and being in communication with God, you'll be just as happy there as you would be anywhere, because that's where happiness comes from. That's what the joy of being is all about. And, I seriously think, having had that thought, a lot of street people have had that experience and not known what to do with it. And so they drive themselves crazy, as I would have too, having had that experience, if I didn't read the course. If somebody didn't hand me the book to explain to me what had just happened to me, because I had no idea. And it doesn't fit in this world at all. That understanding is the exact opposite of what's going on in this world. And so when you have that, you no longer fit here, but you're here, and there's a purpose. And we could learn of that purpose and fulfill that purpose. And that's what it's all about.
Mm. Thank you, Teddy. I was just looking around a second ago. I was hoping that I had a statue that I could hold up. It's a statue that's been here at my parents' house for 40 years, probably at least, that I bought when I was about 16, when I was in Fatima, Portugal, this beautiful statue of Mary. And bringing our attention to her today, I think is so beautiful, because she is the symbol of humility. She is the symbol of full acceptance. You've done unto me according to your will. And Mary can teach us so much. I'm so glad that you said what you said, Teddy, about how Jesus in A Course in Miracles, in the notes that were never included in the book, said that she was the only one who came in never having been hooked by illusions. We would call that in Christian theology the Immaculate Conception, right? And yet the truth is, we were all conceived in that same way, in innocence, in perfection. We just got hooked, that's all. We're like a fish with a hook in our mouth, but it's so easy to remove. We just have to choose to remove it. We have to choose only love, only God, only grace, through humility, through grace, and the rest happens on its own. So what a beautiful lesson. Thank you, everyone. As always, I'm just so grateful. These meetings every morning, what a way to start off our day, to focus, to bring it into focus, the Immaculate Conception within each and every single one of us. I mean, what more do we need but just to hold still, to be humble within that? So Vicky, Alice, Teddy, all of you, wow, thank you so much. I also want to, before we go, I want to welcome Diane to Namaste Village. Diane just arrived yesterday, and she is going to be our Unity Minister in Residence for the next month. She's going to be, I believe, sharing with all of us on Friday, because I won't be available on Friday, but you'll get to meet her, and I'm sure she'll be here several times during her stay at Namaste. So welcome to you, Diane. And thanks to all of you. We love you so much. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording now. So all of you on YouTube, have a blessed day.